Good evening to you. It is Wednesday, November 1st at 11:19 p.m. Earlier tonight, your Purdue Boilermakers played their second exhibition of the 2023-24 basketball season. This time, they faced off against Grace College. They won 98-51. They improved to 0-0, as happens with exhibition games, and I was there to watch it, so I can tell you a little bit about my thoughts, what I saw. If you didn't go to Big Ten minus and pay them money for a subpar product, I can give you what I think, and then you can make your decision what you think about tonight's game. I'll talk about it here in a second, but first, before I do, let me thank our pals at AJ's. Head over to AJ's on Vine. Grab yourself a sandwich, a salad. Right? Nope, not a salad. A sandwich, a burger, a delicious appetizer, a pint, burgers, beef, and beer. That's AJ's. EatAJ's.com. And our other sponsor, also been great to us, Homefield Apparel. Go to homefieldapparel.com. Pick out your favorite t-shirt or sweatshirt. They also have some stuff that's not Purdue. Like I've said, if you're into that sort of thing, they got some rollouts right now for basketball for some other schools. Purdue stuff, I think the line is kind of set for now. But if you haven't checked it out, you should see. They had a lot of stuff to choose from. Enter Boiled23 at checkout for 15% off for your first purchase. Head over to see them. They're awesome. So Purdue squared off against Grace College. Not a lot of you are too enthused. It's a pretty unusual time for a wrap up a couple hours after the game is over. But I don't know how you feel when you can't watch the game. Always good to talk to someone who did watch the game. And I can tell you a little bit about what I saw. First off, Zach Edey, he's not just tall, but when he faces a team that is from a lower division, he does look especially tall. Grace threw a lot of double and triple teams at him. He handled them very easily. Unlike the Arkansas game, he had no foul trouble. He didn't have to play many minutes either. I think he only played 17 minutes. I'll check in the box score here in a second. But Zach was handling his business. It was pretty awesome. He played great. Not much to report there other than it's an interesting thing. Grace is the number 2 NAIA team in America. And a lot of people think that Grace might be a little bit better than some of the opponents that are actually Division I that Purdue will play here in the coming week to 3 weeks. There are some opponents that aren't the strongest teams. Of course, sprinkled in there with some absolute mothers. This pre-con is one of the most difficult schedules I can remember as a Purdue fan. It'll be absolutely something that if you want to see where Purdue is testing out, you're going to get your opportunity. Starts first off, of course, on I think November 13th. Purdue plays Xavier. But before they do that, they're gonna play Samford next Monday, and that'll be the first one that actually counts in the columns. So for about 13 minutes, Grace College hung around, and then all of a sudden they didn't. And Purdue and Matt Painter were messing around with the lineups. Saw a lot of unusual combinations. A lot of people got a lot of minutes that don't play very much. You had some guys that come off the bench or that. Or on the end of the bench, and they played 6-7 minutes. They had a lot of ability to do that. When you're up by 30 to 40 points, you can do that. Grace has some really skilled guys, but it's just it's an exhibition. So let me tell you what I saw let me look at the stats real fast. I don't think this is going to be too long of a wrap up, but the big takeaway, of course, Zach Edey, excellent game, 19 points, 9 rebounds, pair of blocks, and he did it all in 17 minutes. It was pretty effortless for him. There were a lot of opportunities for him to just kind of flex his muscle, and he did it a little bit, but really didn't have to. Purdue was on cruise. One big takeaway I had was that Lance Jones, he shoots when he sees the opportunity. They were sagging off of him. He was the guy that was open a lot of time because that double and triple team they threw at Zach. He went 5 for 8 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. Stroke looks good. It's the first time I've seen him play in person, so he looked good. He's not hesitant at all. That was kind of my biggest takeaway from seeing this version of Purdue in person. Let's see what else. Braden Smith played 17 minutes, just like Edie and Lawyer. He went 4 for 9, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and he cleaned up some of the turnovers. Like once again, the length that Purdue played against Arkansas, this was not at all like that game. The score shows a pretty accurate depiction, but Purdue really in the second half, when they threw an organized lineup, meaning a lineup that you'll probably see, there was nothing Grace could do to hold back the dam. It just kind of broke quickly, and that was it. But Purdue was really scrambling lineups, saw a lot of different things. Got to see some Purdue fans are really excited to see how Brian Waddell plays. Waddell looked, if I'm being real honest, he got beaten pretty easily on a couple pump fakes on the defensive side. He looks pretty resolute on offense when he has the ball in his hands, but I was hoping to see a little bit more out of him. I was hoping to see more minutes too. I think, he had 14 minutes, but they're more towards the end of the game when the game was mostly out of hand. Ethan Morton does look quicker. He does look leaner, but he's interesting. 17 minutes and hardly anything to show for it. Not a lot of stats. 2 rebounds, but he looks different though. He looks lighter. He's quicker off the floor. All that stuff's true that you've heard. Different people that have watched him play before. Sam King, Carson Barrett, Chase Martin, Josh First, Jace Rail all got to play. And let's see which one of them. Carson Barrett played 6 minutes. It's pretty unusual. Gillis played kind of he wasn't, I wouldn't say he was fired up, just kind of businesslike. He played 14 minutes, 5 points. Miles Colvin, one thing I had a big takeaway with watching Miles Colvin, you've seen videos of him. Maybe you've seen him play in high school. You've heard the talk. You've seen some highlight videos. He is a silky, smooth player. He had a turnaround that was awesome. He had a feed where it was a wraparound pass where you can see the upsides there, but who knows if he's. I still think there's still a chance that he might redshirt. So I don't think anything's been decided there. If you leave the comments if you've heard differently. Will Berg in 12 minutes had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and his height and his strength was impossible for Grace College to match up with. Grace actually called off the Dogs as well towards the end of the game. They pulled their starters, or most of them anyway. And Will Berg there was just nobody in his way at that point, and he was doing big things. He looked pretty good. Fletcher Lawyer, very again, a lot like Mason Gillis, didn't have to do much, wasn't pressed very hard. 6 points, and then like I said, Braden Smith, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So that's about it. It wasn't. It was an exhibition. That's about it. That's all there is to say about it. Mackey Arena crowd was decent. Paint crew was solid for an exhibition. They did a pretty good job. A lot of Grace fans were there. It was kind of funny. There were a lot of red shirts up top. I sat next to the brother-in-law of Grace's power forward, who's a pretty good player. I think he's predicted to be all NAIA, like nationally recognized player. Sorry, my voice a little funny, but not much to report. So, like I said, on Monday, I think it's at 7 p.m. Oh, it's 6:30 actually. Purdue plays Samford, so not Sanford and Son, but Samford, and should be another tune-up. I have 2 tune-ups before playing Xavier, and then it gets pretty real. I don't know if there's anything you can take away from this game. The Arkansas game, I went back and I watched highlights of it on YouTube, like I promised. That game was called differently. I know you may have read this in media outlets. That was called differently than the type of game that it felt like it should be. And I know I'm going to talk a little bit about that more than the Grace game right now, just because a game that's on a big stage where you have two teams that are very, very good teams, good programs, highly ranked teams. You'd think there'd be a little more physicality involved or allowed. A couple of Zach Edey's fouls didn't make any sense at all to me. And that happened a couple times during that game. Very, very unusual way to call that game, in my opinion, and it was inconsistent too. The officiating wasn't like they were calling every touch foul, but Zach Edey specifically, his first foul of the game was super questionable. He had two fouls very quickly, so he was in foul trouble the entire game. And then if you watch that, he got his fifth foul, or I think they allowed foul outs. Some exhibitions they just say no foul outs, but I think he got his fifth foul in overtime, if I'm remembering correctly. That one was legit. But today he was completely out of foul trouble. His first foul came with like 40 seconds left in the first half, and it was a foul that I think he would say is just a bad foul because he was off the ground, and kind of a stupid foul that I don't think he commits very often. It's not the type of foul he commits in real games. So there's not much to take away from games like this one tonight, other than it's good to be back. Good to be in Mackey Arena, and excited for the real thing coming. So that's about it. Hope you're if you're a couple of you guys are tuning in live, but appreciate that. And if you're watching it on delay, thanks for tuning in as well. God bless you. Have a let's see, that's pretty good for me. 11 minutes and 50 seconds, but not very emotionally involved, honestly. So have a great evening, what's left of it. God bless you. Hammer down. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.